And we are still here with Dr. Snow entering the second episode that we are pulling from our mass audio production, One Fateful Sunday. And for this one, they will be going into an individual by the name of Christopher Bouzy, who appears to be a founder and CEO of Spoutible Inc., and also something called Bot Sentinel maybe, which was also founded in 2018 by American tech entrepreneur Christopher Bouzy. And just a little bit of information, how does Spoutible work? Well, going by the folks over at myronclifton.medium.com, they tell us that Spoutible aims to compete with and replace Twitter as a go-to social media gathering place for users who want instant information, follower engagement, trending pop stories, and breaking news, and immediate access to the famous and infamous celebrities, athletes, and government officials, and run-on sentences at Old Clifton there at Medium. And so they will be going into how Christopher Bouzy interacts with sex workers on his program.
I'd never seen these pictures, and I found out later that like I don't have Facebook. I deleted mine years ago because Facebook's gross, and all my other shit is super private. They had found my parents' names somehow and then went to Facebook and found their profiles, and my mother had put up, I remember my mother forgot my 30th birthday. Mm-hmm. And I gave her a bunch of shit about it back when I was still talking to her. So she like put up all these pictures. We're like, happy birthday. That was yesterday. That's where they found these pictures.
What?
Was I didn't even know existed on my mom's Facebook. She doesn't even have the same surname as me. Like, but like wild. That's what they were able to find. I'm sure they found their address too.
That is fucking wild. Yeah. See, that type of behavior is creepy. And when someone is willing to go through those sort of lengths to just harass someone, like of course they're gonna make deepfake porn of you. Like that's like just or like the logical next step to me.
I've also been in that like protracted argument with Chris Bouzy for a while, the Spoutible guy. I just why does everyone always want to fight me? I'm so genial. But
I cannot stand Chris Bouzy. I'm just gonna put that out.
What the fuck is wrong with that man? He posted a woman's arrest records, I think yesterday.
I saw that.
Yeah, and like the fact that I mean, we have no privacy protections whatsoever. The fact that that shit is available to the public at all, like,
yeah. So if you wouldn't mind, yeah, we can actually transition in that direction. That was in my notes there. You have so at C Boo. How do you pronounce this? Bouzy?
I've been saying Bouzy. Maybe it's I don't.
Yeah, I don't know, but C Bouzy appears to have targeted my my Spoutible account and suspended access to it, despite my not having broken any community policies, in part because there aren't any, but mainly because I hadn't posted anything yet. But my account is still live. He's just taken control of it. Smiley face. And yeah, what is this story?
Okay, so back in, I remember in like December and January, I saw a bunch of people were excited that he was making this new social media platform that was going to be like Twitter, but protecting marginalized communities. Mm-hmm. And I was like, really, like that doesn't mean anything. That's like a DEI phrase. But I wanted to like wait around and see, like maybe it won't be the bullshit that I suspect it is. So I made an account when it started, and then I immediately went to go look at the like terms of service and community guidelines, because like that's part of the research I do, to see what their policies about like adult content and like prostitution were. And there weren't any, like at all, like they just hadn't been written. So he did a Twitter space maybe like 2 or 3 days later, And I asked in the Twitter space, I introduced myself as a researcher. And then I said, like, well, what are I went to look at your policies and I saw that you didn't have anything in place for child sexual exploitation materials. So I'm wondering, like, what infrastructures you have for content moderation. And he immediately started off about child porn. And like, and then so he's like, no, we don't have child porn on the website. And I'm like, if it's a website, then you have child porn on it. Like, child sexual, like, yes, you do. And God, what was and then he pivots to like, well, and I know some people say that sex workers have legitimate careers, and I'm sure that they do, but we just don't want that kind of stuff on our website. And this was before I had said that I'm also a sex worker, so I like let him go for a minute and then was like, so I'm also a sex worker. And he was like, whoa, and he like stepped back, and I asked him again about content moderation, and he was like, we don't have child porn, and that was the end of it. Which was ridiculous. So I, was still kind of like digging around on my account, and I saw maybe the next morning, I just couldn't log into it. So I was like, well, this did just launch 3 days ago. Like, maybe it's a bug. I don't know. And then I, like, in real time, I could see that he was like fiddling with it, and he like, first he made the account disappear, I think, and then it just showed like a blank page, and then I remember whatever like cycle or like journey it took. The last one was like a picture of a beached whale, because the site's whale themed, and it was like, whoopsie doodle, this account broke policy. He says whoopsie doodle a lot. It's really unnerving. Which I also thought was hilarious, because like the thing about beached whales is that if you don't like take care of them properly and safely, then they explode and send whale guts all over the place.
Oh,
right. And I'm like, just like incidentally, how did he find like the one dominatrix who literally wrote her dissertation on Moby Dick? I'm like one of the top whale metaphor experts that exists. Before I left the humanities. But yeah, no, he then updated it to say it was cross-platform harassment, which it couldn't have been, because A, I didn't post anything, but B, you can't monitor people, you can't like overtly monitor what people are doing on other platforms. That's a violation of like privacy law.
Right.
But he has a habit of like dragging all of his critics, but especially white women or women he thinks are white women. So he did this with like another sex worker after me. Then he did it to Courtney Milan, because she read the terms of service when they were finally published and was like, actually, this is really poorly worded and all weirdly draconian. Like, as a romance writer, I don't even know if I can link to my own books.
Right.
And he, I think, blocked her, and then was like, oh, you tried to go to the manager, and a bunch of people were like, she's not white. Maybe call her Karen. Like, just, and he was like, it's Black History Month. Like, it was a mess. He did the same thing to Kat. And he's been harassing this woman, Caroline, the one whose breast records he posted yesterday, for like a year.
Yeah.
Now. Yeah. Which I guess isn't using AI. He did actually. I remember. Well, I guess we weren't talking about AI anymore, but now that I've brought it up, he boasted about developing some kind of algorithm that could detect adult content. So I fiddled with. I made I had one of my Sims make an account for me to just fiddle with, and tried uploading like different kinds of pictures. I think I posted like, this is literally the only time I'm ever going to ask anyone for this, but I am fucking with an algorithm. Send me your nudes. Yeah. So I tried uploading a bunch of people's nudes that they sent me, and it didn't flag any of the dick pics at all. It only flagged women of color's breasts and trans women.
Wow, I am shocked. I
know. Who could have seen that coming?
Yeah, no, I think I don't think I've ever interacted with him personally, but one of the big what did he say? Said you create Oh, I found the tweet where he was responding. He said, "You created an account at Spoutible. You didn't like the adult nudity and sexual content policy, so you asked to speak to the manager. The manager is a black man who told you the policy stays and your brain couldn't process being told no by a black man. Happy Black History Month." This guy is such a fucking clown. Such a fucking clown.
Yeah, like, and he makes progressive brothers look whack. Like, it's like, nigga, now, like, you're fucking up. I don't like him.
Yeah.
Well, and I've been like shocked with the arrest record thing because I'm like, I mean, I'm just a white lady, but I'm pretty sure that the police disproportionately target one specific demographic that you're a part of.
Exactly.
So, this is a little, this like, you're a criminal thing. Like,
he's just like a highly antagonistic troll. I don't like him. Yeah, I think that Spoutible, the only reason it was even on my radar at all was because of the sexual content policy, because I saw people talking about it, and his thing was he kept just trying to say like, well, as long as you don't post anything like that's sexually explicit, you'll be fine, you'll be fine, you'll be fine. Like, as long as you don't post, you know, anything adult material, right. It's fine, it's fine, it's fine. But my issue with that is that that really doesn't mean anything when you've done sex work, because when you're sort of labeled like with that sort of like permanent scarlet letter, right? When you're a sex worker, right. And anything you do is seen as sexual, because like we have this problem. I've seen it happen on Facebook, I've seen it happen on Twitter, I've seen it happen on Instagram, you know, where someone is a sex worker, they talk about the fact they're a sex worker, and then they'll post something that's genuinely literally unrelated, right? Like it happened, someone was posting pics at the beach, they were in a bikini at the beach, and it got flagged as sexual content because they were a sex worker, even though it was not promoting sex work. They were promoting their fucking day at the beach because they were on vacation, you know.
Or like, I've posted screenshots of text that's gotten flagged as being sensitive content. I'm like, there's not even a person here. Like, it's well, and I was like, what about feet? Like, I have friends who have lost their PayPal accounts for selling feet pictures. Can I post my feet?
Right. Exactly. So yeah, this whole like, as long as it's not adult content doesn't mean anything to me, because so many things get flagged as adult content whether they actually are or not. And so yeah, his whole thing, I was like, there's just something that's just rubbing me the wrong way about this guy. This whole thing seems incredibly disingenuous. And every day since then that I've heard his name, I'm like, I was
what now? Yeah, well, and he was saying shit like, well, we just don't want you posting your hoo-ha or whatever. And I'm like, first of all, how old are you? Second, like, I don't even make content, and I also don't take off my clothes. And like, some of my best friends post pictures of their hoo-has. I'm like, I don't need you like speaking into existence this idea that I'm posting pussy pictures. All like, that's sexual harassment. Like, stop talking about my pussy.
Yeah, no,
I don't want to show it to you either. Like, leave me alone.
It's fucking weird. And then like the posting arrest records thing, that also really rubs me the wrong way for someone who's allegedly creating a safe space for sex workers, because so many sex workers are sex workers and can't get out of the industry because they do have arrest records for things. And it's like, and especially for like drug and prostitution related offenses, like so many people, because like let's be for real, marijuana is still a schedule 1 drug in this fucking country, okay? Like, I got arrested for having weed on me 10 years ago. I don't need you to like put that on fucking social media and make it seem like I'm out here like an actual criminal. Like, you know what I mean? I hate the word.
Even if you are an actual like, who cares?
It was for having drugs. Like, were you out here raping somebody? Were you out here killing people? That's the type of shit I want to know about.
Exactly.
If you use drugs, I don't give a shit.
Were you making deep fake porn of your students?
That's the type of shit I want to know about. Okay.
Yeah.
Exactly. I don't give a fuck if you've used drugs before, but yeah. So even that, like with his flippant ass way that he's like trolling with that on Twitter, like there's no fucking way he created anything that's remotely safe for sex workers, and honestly probably really not safe for women in general, if we're being quite.
Oh no, absolutely. Oh, and then the other arrest that the woman had was for shoplifting, and I'm like, as a reformed chronic shoplifter, I know that the places you do not steal from are like grocery stores and big box stores, because they're the ones with the AI technology to fucking catch you. Versus like, if you're stealing like some bullshit like makeup, then you're probably like, if you're stealing diapers or like paper towels, that's what you're gonna get caught for. So like, we're making fun of this woman for being poor and smoking weed.
Exactly. Like that's not the move for me. That is not the move
No.
for me.
No, and that's what this C Bouzy individual has done that.
Yeah, because there's
Yeah.
some Twitter. Her name I think is Carolyn like RVA Wonk or something is like her Twitter.
Yeah, or Bueno, I think it's
Or something like that. Anyway, but yeah, she basically like made a snarky comment about him, and like if you say anything negative about him, he will like fucking track you down on Twitter.
Oh,
and, like,
I was going to say, I am somehow the only person that I've seen who has criticized him that he hasn't screenshotted and dragged, and I don't know why.
Oh, because he blocked you.
because the
Oh no, well he blocked Caroline too. He blocked all of them, but like he hasn't addressed me directly.
I think
And I want to know why.
I think it's the ties to the sex work community because like you don't want that smoke, honestly. But yeah, no, and so like this woman was disagreeing with him, and you know, he as a result like looked up her name and found her arrest records, and he was like, look at this person talking about me, meanwhile you're a criminal, and like posted literally an arrest record from 10 years ago for like a drug possession charge, and all it said was Schedule 1 drug, which, and again, because weed is Schedule 1, it could have been weed, it could have been fucking meth, I don't even know what the fuck it was, and he's like posting it to make fun of her, and I was like, that's not the fucking move.
Yeah, because there's like
child.
there's time and place. Like I remember in 2013 when like some racist person on Fox News happened to have an ankle monitor on while they were in the shot, and like that's the one where you clown, but this is just a regular working class.
Well, and like because I had talked to the woman a few times. When I saw he was posting this shit, I was like, I'm going to see how easy it is to find this, because like I've been arrested, and as far as I haven't been able to find that on the internet, and I know a lot of, well, I mean, I guess then again, medieval Twitter found my pictures, so maybe it isn't. But at any rate, I went and I like tried googling her by state, and nothing was coming up. And I found with Virginia, you could look up arrest records, but you had to know the county. And I was like, I'm not fucking figuring out what county she lived in 2012. Like this was just, you know, someone who I'd like been friendly with. I wanted to give a heads up, and I was like, I'm not spending any more of my time or energy on this. So he clearly, I mean, my guess is that he either paid a PI or a lawyer. Well, I have a few lawyer clients, so I was like, is it easy to like find this kind of shit? And they're like, yeah, well, I mean, sort of, but like you have to go through all like this horse shit to do it. Like the money, time, and energy that he has to have spent to dig this shit up about her.
Wait, I'm sorry, say that again. I got completely sidetracked for a second looking at his Twitter.
No, you're fine.
He spread like the wildest fucking tweet, and it like just made my brain melt for a second.
It's recorded.
Yeah. Because I'm going back and looking at like the tweets between him and Caroline. Apparently he compared her to Carolyn Bryant
several times
because you didn't like some shit she tweeted. Nigga, get a fucking grip. What is
I've been compared to Carolyn Bryant on multiple occasions.
Well, so he's like a combination between like Elon James White and Tariq Nasheed.
Yeah.
As far as like the bad faith acting and then like the sort of fake leftist politics is what it looks like.
And this all started because she criticized his website. She said Chris Bouzy gained 260,000 followers in November of 2022 by buying a Russian website, claiming he built the next great social media platform, which then proceeded to implode in a matter of days. So basically he bought $260,000 or 260,000 followers for a website. That's what started this. Because she tweeted that, he's now posting her arrest records and shit and calling her Carolyn Bryant.
And she's not wrong.
Well, that's just so that's his response to journalism.
Yes. And also he relies heavily on using Black women in GIFs, and it just makes me uncomfortable.
And
I mean, well,
yes.
With the Carolyn Bryant thing, I mean, not to bring up medieval Twitter again, but a few years ago I tweeted something that was like, no, actually, like, believe women is not, you know, a phrase we should all be parroting, because like, what about Emmett Till? And that got I think they screenshot that to be like, well, you're no different than Carolyn Bryant.
What? How? Pancakes and waffles. I swear to God.
Exactly.
Okay, it's pancakes and waffles.
And
Exactly.
so it's come up several times, and the show will hit a couple different audiences. What is medieval Twitter?
So academic Twitter, which is probably more legible, is just academics who use Twitter. And, you know, there's like neuroscientists who share shit on Twitter, and like social media researchers, and like medieval Twitter is one of those groups, but what's distinct about medieval Twitter is that they're insane. I mean, the rest aren't necessarily not insane, but medieval Twitter is just like beyond. And it's a bunch of people who literally study shit from the Middle Ages. And they are really dedicated to social justice, but in a very unorthodox way. I remember one grad student DMing me maybe like 3 years ago, and he was like, hey, so you're not a medievalist, right? And I was like, God, no. Like, I studied 19th century American. And he was like, oh, okay, can I ask you a question? Sure. It's like, when you were in grad school, did they tell you that studying American literature was fighting fascism? And I was like, I don't understand the question. That is literally the dumbest thing I've ever heard in my life. What the fuck are you talking about? So for what I think largely because white supremacists use like Norse mythology to, you know, or like the Europa. I never paid attention to shit because I don't care about castles. The reigning ideology of medieval Twitter is that posting is activism to fight white supremacy. And kind of similar to Bouzy, anyone who disagrees with them in any way, shape, or form has to be a Nazi. So, you know, I think it's like, my suspicion is that because it's such like, because the stakes are so low, that's why they're also, you know, at the same time so high, between like trying to prove their relevancy and their importance in the world when there really is none, or like very not much. So medieval Twitter, what's fascinating to me about them is that, similar to Bouzy, they will say hella racist, homophobic, whatever shit about people, and then turn around and say that they're fighting homophobia, you know, and it's like clearly this like co-opting of leftist language, and they don't actually know that, like, no, calling a Jewish sex worker a wealthy white woman is anti-Semitic. Like, it would be fine if you didn't bring up the wealthy part, but you had to go there, didn't you? Like, so I got on their radar back in 2020, and this is like so stupid and irrelevant, but there was a race faker in their midst who was pretending to be Jewish and Roma. And I'm Jewish and Polish, and saying that you have like Roma ancestry is like the Eastern European equivalent of saying that you have a Cherokee grandma. So I was like, this bitch is full of shit. And they were like, Snow's a Nazi, because I, you know, was mean to one of their people. And then all the whorephobia like poured out, right? So and they're like, well, I'm not anti-sex worker, but we need to share her name and face for accountability. Or like, I'm not anti-sex worker, but at least my job doesn't mean that I'm ashamed to show my face. Like, they really, really like stuck on showing my face the name. And always like prefacing it with like, well, I'm not a whorephobe, but yeah. So they're kind of this like cartoonish, at least for me. Well, and also they fucking like, they doxed me. I had to move twice, so like they were like pretty awful. But they're in it, like, for me at least, a good example, or like a good like touchstone, I guess, for people like this who co-opt social justice movements and clearly have no interest in anything resembling liberation. I'm trying to remember why I brought them up this last time.
And that will be the stop point right there. All right, and we'll be back. There's more material with Dr. Snow, but no need to just go uploading the whole 3 hours. Let's go ahead and break this into several different episode segments, topics. All right, swapusa.org. This is Swapcast, where we strive to say words that are worth hearing. Please be as safe as possible wherever you are.